Here are 10 random Boros cards that your mom wanted me to show you. Aegis of the Legion is an artifact equipment and gives the creature +1/+1 and Mentor. So, whenever it attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. Whenever equipped creature mentors a creature, you put a shield counter on that creature. So, on top of making the creature +1/+1 counter bigger, you also give it a shield counter, so then you protect all your little creatures as you swing in. This is actually pretty darn fantastic, especially because Boros is the #1 equipment colors. And now you've heard of Aurelia, but have you heard of her Fury? This is an instant, costs X, white and red. Aurelia's Fury deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of targets, and then you tap each creature dealt damage this way. And players dealt damage this way can't cast non-creature spells this turn, so you just do like 3 and just deal 1 damage to each of your opponents, and you're just like, you can't cast non-creature spells. Or you could just be like, hey, I'm gonna tap down a bunch of your creatures, or you know, any mix of whatever. So that's a thing. That's a thing that can happen. Now this next one is freaking busted, and I love this card so much. Fight to the death, instant. It's a red and a white. That's all it costs, 2 mana. Destroy all blocking creatures and all blocked creatures. This thing is so insane. 2 mana, you could destroy 1,000,000 creatures. It's nuts. And this is before combat damage is dealt, so nothing gets through, lifelink doesn't get through, and you just, oh my gosh, this thing is so busted. 2 mana? Who came up with this? This thing is crazy. Now, Gerard, Weatherlight Hero, I feel like came out in 2019 in the Commander decks and then just kind of went off the radars. I remember it being really cool when it came out, but that is like, whatever. But honestly, this one's so good. So Gerard's a 3/3 with first strike, human soldier. When he dies, exile it and return to the battlefield all artifacts and creatures in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. Awesome. This is board wipe protection. Oh man, so this is really good for, again, those equipment decks or vehicle decks, or you know, what have you, and just protects creatures in general, and you know how much white loves creatures, so Gerard is so amazing. Glory of Warfare, 2 red white enchantment. During your turn, creatures you control get +2/+0, and during turns other than yours, creatures you control get +0/+2. That's all it does. It just sits there. But honestly, this thing, you get extra toughness on your turn, and then you get extra attack on your turn. So yeah, on not your turn, sorry, whatever, you get the wording. Yeah, it's just a constant buff that just sits there. +2/+0 is very significant, especially when you got 21 ones. All of a sudden they're all 3/1s, but that's a lot of damage. So this thing can go pretty hard. Leave Chance. I love these Aftermath cards. So Leave says return any number of target permanents you control to your hand, and it's an instant, so you can protect yourself again from board wipes or from, you know, destroy target creature or whatever it is. You can protect your any number of permanents you control to your hand. So if you're gonna lose a land from land destruction, like, return them to hand for 2 mana, any number. Boy howdy, this is great. And then when it's in the graveyard, you can pay 3 and a red for chance and sorcery speed, discard any number of cards, and then draw that many cards. So all the cards you just drew or like put back in your hand, you can discard all of them if you want, and then draw that many cards. Of course, you don't have to do it that turn, but of course that's what Aftermath is good for, is they're kind of meant to be played one after the other, potentially, so that's always amazing. Moonhold got some pretty cool art. 2 and a Boros, so 3 mana. Instant. Target player can't play lands this turn if red was played spent to cast it, and can't cast creature spells if white was spent to cast it. And you do both if both colors were spent on it. So that's going to be pretty darn easy. The target player can't play lands and then can't cast creatures this turn. This shuts down things so hard. And it's 3 mana instant. Man, that's so rude. But honestly, sometimes I feel like I need something like this, because I'm like, you are getting out of hand. I gotta shut this down as fast as possible. So, yeah, anyway. All right, going all the way back to Apocalypse, we got Power Stone Minefield. It's an enchantment again for 2 red, white. Whenever a creature attacks or blocks, this enchantment deals 2 damage to it. It's kind of like Light Minefield, but this one's just the red and white version, like kind of just, but at a static rate. So this is whenever a creature attacks or blocks, deals 2 damage to it. So it's, you don't, if you don't want creatures on the battlefield for some reason, or you just don't like your opponents having creatures, or I don't know, if you've got a lot of toughness, this is fun, but it's super annoying. It just keeps creature decks maybe at bay just a little bit. This also stacks with like Fiery Emancipation. Yeah, and I'll just leave that there. Rally the Righteous. This is an instant with Radiance, and you untap target creature and each other creature that shares a color with it, and those creatures get +2/+0. That's 3 mana instant. This is very interesting. This is like, I misread it at first, but so you untap a target creature. It just any target creature that you can target. And then each other creature that shares a color with it. And that's not your creatures. This is any creature. So you can be like, I want to manipulate the board a little bit. I'm going to untap all of so-and-so's creatures. And then they all get super buff. And it's really annoying for whoever's maybe winning or having a hoedown with everybody. So you can manipulate the battlefield, or give your own creatures a big buff or what have you. But it's kind of fun. I like that it can be played as this double-sided card, which, back in the day, it would not have been that great for like a standard tournament or something, I feel like, because then you might potentially just give your opponent, maybe it's a good sideboard card, whatever. I'm going on too long. This is pretty fun. All right, lastly, we've got Reflect Damage. It's an instant for 3 red, whites, 5 mana. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage this turn, that damage is dealt to that source's controller instead. Well, now I know what you're thinking. Why not just use good old-fashioned Deflecting Palm? Well, Deflecting Palm is 3 less mana. However, this says, Deflecting Palm says next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. Reflect Damage prevents damage from anywhere. It doesn't have to be like to a creature, to a planeswalker, to a battle, to whatever. You can prevent that damage and direct it back to the source's controller. So this gives you a little bit more flexibility than Deflecting Palm. Of course, 9 times out of 10 you're going to want Deflecting Palm, but Reflect Damage is just kind of a fun one to have in the background, especially if you're trying to play some older type decks, pre-modern or whatever it is, whatever formats. So I just think it's fun. And with that, I'd like to introduce you guys to the Arcane Fortress deck box. This thing goes very hard. It is very high quality, and it comes in all the different colors for Magic players. It even comes in pink. And Arcane Fortress also provides sleeves and playmats and whatever you want. So check them out, and make sure you check out the affiliate links below. Milkman Proxies and TCGplayer. They're awesome. And I'll catch you guys next week for your weekly dose of Magic.